I am Jan Kaila G. Mamarlao, and I'll be discussing the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is a biogeochemical process through which nitrogen is converted into many forms, consecutively passing from the atmosphere to the soil, the organism, and back into the atmosphere. It is a continuous process series of natural processes by which nitrogen passes successively from air to soil to organism back to air or soil. Of course, it involves the process. It involves several processes such as nitrogen fixation, nitrification, assimilation, ammonification, and denitrification. Did you know that the air we breathe from the atmosphere is about 78% nitrogen, that is almost most in the air? So even if there's a lot in the air, we all need another way to obtain the nitrogen. Nature has a way to automatically provide us with nitrogen, and it involves processes to get nitrogen out of the air into living organisms. For nitrogen to be used by living things, it needs to change into different states. Nitrogen in the air that is called N subscript 2, and other examples of nitrogen states: nitrates, nitrites, and ammonium. What processes are involved in the nitrogen cycle? Nitrogen cycle revolves around an important creature on Earth, the bacteria. Bacteria, then, is it bad for us since it promotes illnesses? Well, not all bacteria are bad. In fact, some of them are in your tummy to help you digest food. But this particular bacteria actually help the nitrogen change between states so it can be used. For example, when nitrogen gets in the soil, lots of bacteria help it to change states so it can be absorbed by plants, and so we and other animals get nitrogen from plants. The processes involved in the nitrogen cycle are the following. First is the nitrogen fixation. It is the first step for bacteria change nitrogen into ammonium. It's a very smelly kind of gas. For us humans, we use ammonium for purification of waters, supplies, and in the manufacture or plastic explosives, textile pesticides, dyed, and other chemicals. The second step in the cycle is the nitrification. Like its name, this is where ammonium gets changed into nitrates by soil bacteria. Plants can now absorb nitrogen in the form of nitrate. Speaking of absorption, nitrogen is used in fertilizer to help plants grow faster. Agricultural engineers are always developing some amazing fertilizers, even today. The next in the cycle is the assimilation, or the absorption of nitrogen from the soil to the body of the plants. They absorb those nitrates from the soil into the roots. After that, the nitrogen gets used in the amino acids, nucleic acids, and chlorophyll. The next part of the cycle is the ammonification, or the decaying process. When living things like plant or animal dies decomposes, then, like fungi and bacteria, turn the nitrogen back into ammonium. This is done so that nitrogen won't be just wasted on the ground, so it can enter the nitrogen cycle again. And lastly, the denitrification. Although most of the nitrogen gets back to other living things through plants, Other nitrogen left in the soil can get back out into the air, and this process is called denitrification. This process involves special bacteria to make nitrogen less dense and get back to the atmosphere. What is the biological importance of the nitrogen cycle? Nitrogen cycle help plants to synthesize chlorophyll from the nitrogen compounds. It helps in converting inert nitrogen gas into a usable form for the plants through the biochemical process. Plants and animals could not live without nitrogen because it is an important processes in their body like amino acids, proteins, and even our DNA and our genetic code. Without nitrogen, we cannot replicate or produce another living thing. That would be all. Thank you.